The coastal town of Porto Seguro was cloaked in a familiar melancholy as Ricardo Rico Silva stepped off the train. 20 years had passed since he last walked these cobblestone streets, yet the scent of salt and sorrow remained. He was here for a funeral, a somber homecoming orchestrated by fate. A gentle hand on his shoulder brought him face to face with Sylvia Costa, her eyes mirroring his grief.
Rico, it's been too long.
She murmured, her voice a soothing balm to his troubled heart. They were soon joined by Davi Santos, his wiry frame a stark contrast to his booming laughter, and Tina Almeida, her artistic hands already sketching the scene before them. The last to arrive was Miguel Oliveira, his gaze sharp and calculating, a detective forever marked by the shadows he chased. Their friend Mariana was gone, taken too soon by an unforgiving illness. As they gathered at her grave, a chill wind swept through the cemetery, carrying with it the weight of unspoken words and shared history. It was Davy who broke the silence, his voice thick with emotion.
Remember the pact we made? To always be there for each other no matter what.
A collective nod rippled through the group, a silent vow echoing in the hushed air. Little did they know, a new mystery was about to draw them back together, testing the limits of their friendship and unearthing secrets buried deep within their beloved town. The funeral concluded, leaving a void in its wake. The friends gathered at Sylvia's cozy bookstore, seeking solace in shared memories and steaming cups of strong Brazilian coffee. It was there, nestled amongst a stack of first editions, that Sylvia discovered it. A plain white envelope addressed to the Guardians of Porto Seguro. Intrigue warred with apprehension as she read the contents aloud.
20 years ago, a young woman vanished. Her name was Ana Clara, and she holds the key to a truth that some would kill to keep buried. The old fish factory holds the answers you seek. Follow the whispers in the wind. Sanai.
A collective gasp filled the room. Ana Clara's disappearance had been a wound that never truly healed in Porto Seguro. Miguel, his detective instincts ignited, urged caution.
This could be a cruel prank.
He warned, his voice laced with skepticism, born from years of chasing shadows. But Rico, his eyes gleaming with a mixture of grief and determination, wouldn't be deterred.
What if it's not Miguel? What if this is our chance to finally find out what happened to her?
His words hung heavy in the air, a challenge issued and silently accepted. The whispers in the wind had caught their attention, and the Guardians of Porto Seguro were about to embark on a journey that would test their loyalties and unearth secrets that some had died trying to protect. The abandoned fish factory loomed before them, a skeletal silhouette against the bruised twilight sky. Its rusted gates groaned open, as if reluctant to reveal the secrets entombed within. A palpable sense of dread settled over the group as they stepped inside, their footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. Cobwebs clung to the dilapidated machinery, and the air hung thick with the ghosts of a once thriving industry. Tina, her artistic senses on high alert, noticed the faded beauty in the decay, the way the dying light painted ethereal patterns on the dusty floor.
There's a story here,
she whispered, her voice barely audible above the rhythmic crash of waves against the nearby shore. Davi, ever the pragmatist, pulled out his flashlight, its beam cutting through the gloom.
Let's split up and search. Look for anything that might be connected to Ana Clara or this so-called truth.
As they ventured deeper into the labyrinthine factory, a sense of unease settled over them. They were being watched, their every move scrutinized by unseen eyes. The whispers in the wind seemed to intensify, carrying with them a faint hint of jasmine, the scent Ana Clara was said to favor. Hours crawled by, each tick of the clock amplifying their unease. Just when their hopes began to dwindle, Rico stumbled upon a hidden compartment beneath a loose floorboard. Inside lay a small, leather-bound diary, its pages brittle with age. The diary belonged to Ana Clara. Entries chronicled her life in Porto Seguro, her hopes, her dreams, her growing fear of a shadowy conspiracy she'd stumbled upon. but most of the entries were written in a cipher, a complex code that seemed indecipherable.
Miguel, we need your expertise.
She said, her voice tight with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Miguel, his dark past a constant shadow, had a knack for unraveling mysteries, both literal and figurative. He examined the cipher with a practiced eye, his fingers tracing the intricate patterns of the code.
This is going to take some time. It's complex, but not impossible.
He muttered, his brow furrowed in concentration. He pulled out his laptop, his fingers flying across the keyboard with practiced ease. As Miguel worked, Tina noticed something peculiar about the diary's cover. Etched into the leather, almost invisible to the naked eye, was a symbol, a stylized wave crashing against a lighthouse.
I've seen this symbol before. It's the mayor's family crest.
She whispered, her voice barely a tremor in the stillness of the factory. The revelation hung in the air, a poisonous seed of doubt taking root. Mayor Augusto Cardoso, a pillar of the community, a man revered for his honesty and integrity, was now linked to Ana Clara's disappearance. It seemed unfathomable, yet the evidence was mounting.
He was using his position to force local fishermen off their land. He was going to sell the land to developers for a fortune, destroying the ecosystem in the process.
Miguel, his fingers a blur over the keyboard, finally cracked the cipher. The decrypted entries painted a chilling picture. Ana Clara had inadvertently uncovered a scheme involving illegal land acquisition and environmental destruction, orchestrated by none other than Mayor Cardoso himself.
Ana Clara, driven by a fierce sense of justice, had vowed to expose the mayor, but she had underestimated his ruthlessness. She had vanished before she could bring her findings to light.
Fear mingled with anger coursed through the group. They knew they were treading dangerous ground. Mayor Cardoso was not a man to be trifled with. He wielded power like a weapon, and they had just become a threat to his carefully constructed empire.
We have to expose him. For Ana Clara, for Mariana, for this town.
But as they prepared to leave the factory, a deafening clang echoed through the darkness. They were trapped. Panic threatened to engulf them as they realized the gravity of their situation. The old factory, once a refuge, had become a prison.
Someone knows we're here. Someone who will stop at nothing to silence us.
They were hunted. Whispers became hushed conversations, fear lending an urgency to their voices. Each creak of metal, each rustle in the shadows, sent shivers down their spines.
The main entrance is welded shut. We're trapped.
But Tina, her artistic eye attuned to detail, noticed something peculiar about the graffiti that adorned the factory walls. It wasn't random vandalism, as they had initially assumed. It was a message, a plea for help, hidden in plain sight.
It's a cipher. The same one Ana Clara used in her diary.
Feverishly, they set to work, deciphering the message. It was a warning, left by Ana Clara herself. The factory was rigged with traps, designed to deter trespassers. But more importantly, it revealed a hidden passage, a way out. Hope flickered amidst the shadows. They followed Ana Clara's instructions, navigating the treacherous maze of corridors, their hearts pounding in unison with the relentless surf outside.
Just a little further, we're almost there.
Just when their strength began to fail, they emerged into the cool night air, blinking at the stars like newborn creatures. They were free. But the game was far from over. They had escaped the factory, but they were still trapped in a web of deceit spun by a man they had once trusted. The weight of their discovery hung heavy as they regrouped at Sylvia's bookstore. The familiar scent of old books a poor disguise for the tension that crackled in the air. They had to expose Mayor Cardoso, but they needed proof, irrefutable evidence that would stand up in a court of law.
We need to tell the police. Let them handle this.
He urged, his voice tight with apprehension. But Miguel, his years on the force tainted by the corruption he had witnessed firsthand, shook his head.
Cardoso's influence runs deep. He owns the police, the judges, even the newspapers. We go to them, we're dead.
It was Tina, her artistic mind often overlooking the obvious, who had the breakthrough.
Ana Clara's diary. She said she had proof, photographic evidence of Cardoso's dealings. It has to be hidden somewhere in the factory.
A new sense of urgency propelled them back to the dilapidated structure. They scoured every inch, their fingers tracing the same dusty paths Ana Clara had walked all those years ago. Just when their hope began to dwindle, Rico noticed something unusual about one of the old photographs in Ana Clara's diary.
Look at this. The reflection in the glass shows a specific loose brick in the factory wall.
Behind the brick, they discovered a hidden compartment. Inside lay a small metal box, its contents meticulously preserved. It contained photographs, documents, and a handwritten ledger detailing Mayor Cardoso's illicit activities. They finally had the proof they needed. The town square buzzed with activity as the annual Festival du Mar reached its peak. It was a celebration of Porto Seguro's rich maritime heritage, a riot of color, music, and laughter. But beneath the surface of gaiety, a storm was brewing. The friends, armed with the truth and fueled by a righteous fury, had devised a plan. They would expose Mayor Cardoso at the festival, using the joyous occasion to unveil the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of their idyllic town.
This is it. We have to make sure everyone sees the truth.
As the mayor took to the stage, his face beaming with feigned benevolence, a hush fell over the crowd. Just as he began his speech, a series of images flashed across the large screen behind him. The photographs, meticulously curated by Tina, told a story of greed, corruption, and betrayal. Panic flickered in the mayor's eyes as he realized the game was up. He tried to regain control of the situation, but it was too late. The crowd, their anger stoked by years of silent suffering, turned on him.
This is for Ana Clara and everyone else you've hurt.
The whispers in the wind had become a roar, a collective cry for justice that echoed through the square. As the police moved in to arrest the mayor, a figure emerged from the back of the crowd. It was Ana Clara, pale and thin, but very much alive. She had been in hiding all these years, living under an assumed identity, waiting for the right moment to reclaim her life. The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity. The town was in an uproar, reeling from the revelations that had shaken their world. Mayor Cardoso's empire of lies crumbled, his co-conspirators exposed, their crimes laid bare for all to see. Ana Clara, hailed as a hero, returned to a town eager to make amends for the injustice she had suffered. The fish factory, once a symbol of decay and despair, was slated for revitalization, a testament to the town's resilience and their commitment to a brighter future.
We've done it. We've really done it.
As for the friends, they found themselves bound together by the shared experience, their bond forged in the crucible of danger and discovery. They had started as a group of friends reunited by grief, but they had emerged as something more, the guardians of Porto Seguro, protectors of their town, their legacy etched into the very fabric of its being. And so, as the sun set on a new era for Porto Seguro, casting long shadows across the revitalized waterfront, the friends gathered at Sylvia's bookstore, the scent of freshly brewed coffee mingling with the tang of salt air.
There will be other mysteries to solve, other injustices to right. But for now, let's enjoy this moment.
The whispers in the wind had been silenced, replaced by the laughter of children playing in the shadow of a lighthouse that once again shone brightly, a beacon of hope guiding them towards a future free from fear.